The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. Hello, this is Karen Nickel, family nurse practitioner, and you are listening to Itchy and Bitchy, a podcast that provides answers to your many unanswered health questions. I recently received a message from a woman named Katie on the I&B podcast Facebook page. She says, "Hi, Karen. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to know if you may consider doing an Itchy and Bitchy episode on vaginal biofilms." And Katie, I'm going to do just that right now. Katie goes on to share her story. At 44, I've had recurring infection, both BV, that's bacterial vaginosis, and yeast in the past couple years, which is new for me. I've treated them individually as they've come up, but it's been frustrating. I had to switch OBGYNs because my last one moved out of state in the middle of this process. That adds another layer of complexity. My new doctor and her nurses just kind of chalk this up to normal at this age and are treating the infections as they pop up. But I'm tired of bouncing back and forth every 1.5 to 3 months and want to address the overall cause if possible. I've gotten ads on my phone for companies that will send a home swab test I can take looking for the presence of a biofilm. Have you heard of this? Is it scammy, or could a biofilm cause recurring infections? I just saw my GP and she's having me try a maintenance regimen of estradiol cream. That's an estrogen, estradiol cream, which I tried once, but I was in a persistent aggressive yeast infection cycle at that time, which thankfully I'm not still dealing with. I wonder now that I'm not actively in an infection if the estradiol cream could help to thicken my vaginal walls and make me less susceptible to infections. But yeah, curious if you place any stock in the biofilm theory. My GP had not heard of it. Thanks and take care. Katie, I am always very unhappy when I hear when a woman is being dismissed by providers by being told that their symptoms are purely part of the aging process. I've said it before, the medical field, at least in the US, is very tolerant of women's suffering, and it shouldn't be so. It's 2026, for goodness sake. So, to begin, vaginal biofilms are indeed a real thing. It's not a scam. I will share some study information with you as well as the testing available to check for biofilms and some treatment options that may work for you if you are enduring this problem. What the heck is a vaginal biofilm? This problem may be one you've never heard of. As Katie mentioned, her GP has never heard of it either. It's a sad statement considering the concept of biofilm growth was officially described in 1978. Yes, 1978. Actually, the concept was initially described by a Dutch microbiologist in 1683. And with the advent of sophisticated microscopic techniques, it was confirmed in 1978. A vaginal biofilm is a structured community of bacteria, primarily Gardnerella vaginalis or yeast or both, that adheres to the vaginal walls, often causing recurrent infections like bacterial vaginosis, BV, or yeast vaginitis. This coating of bacteria and or yeast acts as a shield of sorts, making the community of microbes highly resistant to antibiotics, antifungals, and immune responses. Because the biofilm protects bacteria or yeast, standard treatments often fail, leading to high rates of relapse. It's like a microbial Teflon lining inside the vagina. You're going to love this next part. There are several stages in the formation of a biofilm, and it happens quickly. First, the bacteria or yeast cells land on the surface like a vaginal lining, which is warm and moist, At first, they are weakly and temporarily adhered to the surface. Then, the bacteria produce a type of slime that allows them to stick to the surface permanently. Oh, it gets better. A matrix forms around the group of bacterial cells and provides a physical architecture so the microbes can interact with each other, communicate with each other. They continue to divide and multiply, and the community grows into a complex, three-dimensional structure, often with water channels that distribute nutrients and remove waste. You are hearing me correctly. Cells communicate through a process that enables bacteria to monitor population density and coordinate group behaviors. As this community grows, small or large clumps of bacteria break off, spreading to new locations to start the process elsewhere. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? This is all taking place in the vagina. I will give you a quick break to settle your reeling head, and when I come back, I will talk about testing and treatment. Welcome back. So, is there hope in treating this crazy bacterial or yeast community that has decided to take up residence in your vagina? We know some of the reasons that biofilms are resistant to treatment. A biofilm can survive if there is slow or incomplete penetration of antibiotics and immune cells into the community matrix. Also, the cells change to improve their survivability. Additionally, there are cells called persister cells, cells that persist, that are able to survive the concentrations of antibiotics or antifungals that would normally destroy the cell. So, they can hang on and help redevelop the matrix if it has been partially destroyed. Persister cells. On top of that, an antibiotic can be deactivated in the upper layers of the biofilm using certain enzymes. Holy cow. The current drug of choice for BV is metronidazole, either oral or vaginal, but there is a high recurrence rate when treating with this medication alone. Multiple studies show that using this med along with other agents such as probiotics, boric acid, vitamin C, and estrogen, all administered vaginally, decreases the recurrence rate significantly. There are some effective treatments with low recurrence rates that are not in the category of either antibiotics or antifungals. For example, compared with conventional antifungal medications, one of the more effective therapies for recurrent vaginal yeast infections is intravaginal boric acid. This therapy has been shown to be effective in treating recurrent BV as well. Boric acid seems to specifically impact the biofilm and can enhance the antibacterial effect of conventional antimicrobial therapy. Boric acid vaginal suppositories are readily available over the counter and can be purchased at your regular pharmacy. Zetaria multiflora, a plant, also known as wild marjoram, has proven to be highly effective in addressing recurrent BV. Zetaria multiflora 0.1% vaginal cream using a 5-gram dose intravaginally for 7 days has a 92.9% cure rate in a study that included 70 women. This product is not readily available in the U.S. Its commercial name is Leucorex, Leucorex. This specific herbal formulation is often distributed from Iran, where the plant is native. I found one website that sells this product, herboca.com, herboca.com, but I cannot vouch for the product or the website. Also, it is produced and distributed in Iran, and at the time of this airing, The U.S. has initiated a war against Iran, so I am not sure what the availability of the product will be now or in the future. In a small study of 25 women, the probiotic Lactobacillus crispatus had a high cure rate of 96% at 30 days after starting treatment. The dosing in the study was 1 cap intravaginally for 7 days. I found only one intravaginal probiotic cream that contains L. crispatus, but I did not do an exhaustive search. The product I found is Vagibiome Vaginal Health Suppositories. The manufacturer's recommended dosing for recurrent vaginal infections is to use 1 Vagibiome suppository per day for 3 consecutive days, followed by 1 suppository per week for 2 months to restore lactobacillus flora. Using over-the-counter treatments like boric acid and/or vaginal probiotics in conjunction with an RX med that is given to you like metronidazole could help you break the cycle of recurrent BV or yeast vaginitis. Regarding Katie's specific question about whether or not using vaginal estradiol cream will help with infection prevention, the simple answer to that is yes. Using the estradiol or estriol vaginal cream as directed, usually twice weekly, will help improve the vaginal tissues and help create a healthier microbiome. So that treatment is definitely a good addition. As I mentioned earlier, it may require a combination of treatments to break this cycle. For instance, a combination of vaginal estrogen along with a vaginal probiotic and possibly vaginal boric acid. I know that means a lot of things going into the vagina, but you wouldn't insert them all on the same day. Is there hope for the future? Well, there are some treatments on the horizon that could be useful, but studies using these ingredients would need to be done before they become available. D-amino acids can trigger biofilm disassembly by causing the release of fibers that link the biofilm cells together. So hopefully that treatment option is something that will be available to women in the future. Quorum sensing inhibitors, QSIs, have recently been identified as anti-biofilm agents for a number of bacterial species. Some natural QSIs include cinnamon, garlic, clove, resveratrol, and citrus flavonoids. There are some medications in this category of inhibitors that include azithromycin, erythromycin, ciprofloxacin, and meloxicam. Now, I'm not recommending that you crack out your spices and start inserting them into your vagina. Studies need to be done to determine effective and safe doses of these substances and what form of distribution is going to be used, such as a cream. Self-testing is available if you feel you are not getting answers or aren't being tested at all by your providers. The company Evvy, EVVY, has a vaginal microbiome swab that tests for over 700 vaginal bacteria and fungi. You collect the sample at home with a vaginal swab and send it back to the company. You get results in 7 to 10 days, along with a detailed report and a personalized plan. In some states, you can also choose to receive prescription treatment online from an Evvy provider. The cost is $159 for a single test, or if you become a member, you get 4 tests a year for $129 each. Microgen DX has an at-home test called Women's Key that identifies over 60,000 types of bacteria and fungi that can affect the urinary and reproductive systems with 99.2% accuracy, which is independently verified by the College of American Pathology. Women's Key also tests for antibacterial and antifungal resistance. Having this information helps tailor treatment options to effectively combat drug-resistant microbes. The test kit is sent to your home, and you do the collecting of your urine and vaginal swab samples in the privacy of your home and send them back using a prepaid shipping label. Results come to you in 24 hours after the sample is received by the lab. It is recommended that you take the results to your provider to review and implement treatment. The cost is $289. I do want to make it clear that these tests are checking for bacteria and yeast. They don't actually determine if there is a biofilm matrix present. However, if you are having chronic symptoms and this test reveals bacteria and/or yeast, it is highly likely that a biofilm has developed. Although our understanding of pathogenic vaginal biofilms, particularly with regards to BV, has advanced, additional research and development in the area of vaginal biofilm infections is definitely needed if we want to have more and better treatment options and improve treatment outcomes. Since the studies needed involve women and their vaginas, I will be interested to see if anyone invests dollars into this research. Katie, thank you for sharing your story and asking the terrific question about vaginal biofilm. I hope this gives you and our listeners some direction on how to approach recurrent vaginitis. Many thanks to all of you for listening. Wherever you listen to this podcast, please leave a review and rate the podcast. Your reviews and ratings matter. Also, make sure you follow the show so that it will be automatically downloaded. That really matters. I encourage you to visit our Facebook page, IMB Podcast, where you can give us a like and leave comments or questions for me. Our website is itchyandbitchy.com, where there are blogs with some of our subjects available for you to read. Thank you to Forrest Wenzel, my son, our producer and composer of our theme music, and the person who does all the behind-the-scenes work to make this podcast possible. Thank you, Forrest. Forrest continues to thrive at Peabody Music Conservatory and is finishing up, yes, his final semester of the master's program. If you want to listen to what he's creating, you can go to his website, forrestwenzel.com. Remember that your health is in your hands.